Hello, hi, I am Angela, and welcome to my 2021 Pan That slash Those palettes slash eyeshadows. This project concept, at least the Pan Those eyeshadows, I know is started by Alexi. And I just want to quickly shout out all of the channels, I guess, that I watch. So this is going to be my second year of doing a Pan That palette and a Pan Those eyeshadows. I just do them in the same video and I'm really excited. A year ago, I think I really consumed a lot of this content. Like I was always searching it and always decompressing watching these types of videos. I think now, after a year has passed, I'm not so much as like a hound for these videos, but I still love them and I still love doing this project. I just wanted to quickly mention, I guess, the bigger creators that I always watch. Too Much Tosh, Rebecca Morgan, Sophie Alexandra. Alexander, I'm sorry. One video I kept calling her Sophia and I was like, oh no, her name's Sophie, and now I don't remember the second half. I'm so stupid. And Sarah Rose kind of does really different version of this, but still fun to watch. And then I watch a ton of smaller channels doing this, like Luisa Alvarez, Leah Embo, Aubrey. There are a ton of smaller channels that do this project, and those are really fun to do. I think this project is really great because pretty much everyone can do this. If you have a collection of eyeshadows, anyone can do this. It's not reserved to people that have a lot of money to buy new things, to do reviews on, whatever. It's very accessible. So if you ever want to do it, go for it, It can be fun. It's nice to see other people doing this project for the first time or whatever. I love this project. Let's get into 2021. For this video, I will be introducing my Pan That palette. I already did a video covering what my Pan That palette would be for 2021, and that video will be linked up here. I think it's pretty fun. I depot and repress my 2020 Pan That palette, and I choose all of my new shadows and make the cover different. Anyways, I'll show you. In this video, I'll introduce my Pan That palette and we will roll in the shadows for my Pan Those eyeshadows and we'll go from there. So my Pan That palette, it looks like this. I made this cover, so again, if you want to see that video, go for it. But let me show you up close because it's fun and sparkly. But oh, I think it's Katie McBride is how you pronounce it. One of my subscribers, Katie McBride, said, oh, I'll mention it later. Hello, here we are in front of a window. I know I got sidetracked in the video. I got really kind of flustered and kept forgetting to say something and remembering to say something and blah, blah, blah. But I know that I forgot to finish my sentence when talking about a subscriber commenting what I should name my palette. And I think it's Katie McBride. I don't know how, unless it's Kate McBride. They said I should call my palette Sweet Rainbows. And even though the palette doesn't look like a rainbow or whatever, I like that just because it follows my own trend of combining the names of the previous two things when I mix them together. Taking Sweet from Sweet Talk and Rainbow from Chasing Rainbows. And yeah, Chasing Talk doesn't really work, or Talk Rainbow doesn't work. And I like the way Sweet Rainbows just makes me happy. I just want to shout out my subscriber who came up with that idea because I thought it was really cute. So what happened here was I took the shadows out of the ColourPop Brown Sugar palette, put them into empty palettes, and then from ColourPop's Sweet Talk palette and ColourPop's Chasing Rainbows palette, which I had depotted a long time ago, I selected shadows that I thought would be cohesive in this 9-pan format. I kind of try to follow Brown Sugar's template for success, like what I loved about Brown Sugar. I try to put shadows in places that were similar to the utility of Brown Sugar. I'll just introduce you. From the Chasing Rainbows palette, you already know Wiggles. Wiggles is this neutral type of shadow I was using towards the end of my 2020 Pan That palette because I had already used up chai and a mixture of chai and a other shadow. So I'd already like hit pan completely, used it all up. So I put Wiggles in there to start getting use out of a different shadow. Then right here is West Side from Sweet Talk. I put it where Jamocha was because they look like similar neutral shadows. I believe West Side is just a bit warmer, so we'll see how that goes. Right here is Meadow from the Sweet Talk palette. I put that in place of Amber. And here from the Chasing Rainbows is Blurred Lines. It's a white gold, and I'll swatch everything out. Right here is Melody. So Melody is from the Sweet Talk palette, and Melody is this beautiful pink gold duochrome, and I just think it's so beautiful. I think it's my favorite shadow from the Sweet Talk palette. Eclipse is really beautiful. It's like a silvery taupe. Again, I'll swatch these, but they're so pretty. This is ICYMI, and I didn't know what that meant until I looked it up just now. It's in case you missed it. It's like a terracotta-y darker color, terracotta-y pink. This is Prism from the Chasing Rainbows palette. It's a matte black. And this is Feel Free from the Sweet Talk palette. So yeah, 5 shadows from Sweet Talk, 4 from Chasing Rainbows. And I think it's just a really cute palette. I think it's pinky and neutral, and there's some cool things I can do with it. And yeah, please watch this video if you want to know more about it. These are relatively new shadows except for Wiggles and Blurred Lines. I've definitely used Melody quite a bit, but there's not that much showing. That's my Pan That palette. For now, we're gonna roll in new shadows. The numbers on my shadows are totally off right now. I believe I have 229 shadows that are eligible for my Panda's Eyeshadows project. If you're keeping track of the numbers, because I know there's some people that are like really good at keeping track of numbers. I messed up my numbers before because I thought the Pixie palette was in my spreadsheet, and then I didn't think it was in my spreadsheet, so I added it again, and then when I looked back, I had the Pixie palette in my spreadsheet twice. The number is also strange because I repressed some of the brown sugar palettes and combined the Pixie shadows into those repressings, but then I didn't repress some of the brown sugar shades. What else? My in-laws, basically, like my boyfriend's family, got me the Pretty Rich palette, which I don't like Too Faced, but I love them. Like, I love my in-laws. That palette's in my collection right now, and that's in my project now. Oh, I think like a profusion shadow experiment of mine just broke, so I need to find that in my spreadsheet and delete it. Let me find that profusion shadow experiment and delete it out of my spreadsheet. Everything should be up to date now, so let's hope. I accidentally wasn't filming, so we will redo all of that. But I rolled in 69. Can I keep 69? Because it makes me giggle. I guess I forgot to start the camera. I paused it to double check my spreadsheet, and I forgot to start the camera. Really great. Good job. But the minimum is 1 and the maximum is 228. I'm so excited to bring in a whole new set of eyeshadows for my Panda's Eyeshadows. And what did I say? I roll in 6. I roll in 6 shadows. And I've been debating making the 6th one be one that I choose on my own. So I'm going to randomly select 5 and maybe randomly select a 6th one. We'll see. 69 is the first one. 109. 139. Hey, a bunch of 9s. Could be cool if all these have 9s. 215. Disappointing me. You could have been a 9. 30. That's 5 shadows, and let me roll in the 6th one, 3, just to see if I like it. Yeah, let me just grab those. Let me look at my spreadsheet, and I'll be right back. So I checked out the shadows that I rolled in, and one of them will be too similar to a shadow in my Pan That palette. The Fates wanted brown sugar back. So this is a henna mix with a Pixie palette shadow. It's too similar to Prism for me, so what we're gonna do is roll in another one and check that. 49. Let's begin with my new Pan Those Eyeshadows, my very, very new fresh start. Pan Those Eyeshadows. I'm so excited. I just hit myself in the face with a palette. I know that 69 is from this palette, Berries and Cream by Dominique Cosmetics. And last year, there were 2 shadows rolled into my project. So we're getting an old timer, a familiar friend, back into our Pan Those Eyeshadows for 2021. And Bittersweet is actually a really exciting one to me. Bittersweet is this purple, and I haven't really gotten a lot of use out of Bittersweet. It hasn't really attracted me, but let me swatch that out really quick. I have orange staining from the shadows that I was working with this morning, like swatching things out and deciding what I wanted to use. So ignore that. We're gonna circumvent that. But that's Bittersweet, which is like this beautiful, cool toned lilac, I would say. Maybe I'll put up what Dominique Cosmetics says about it. When I open this palette, I don't really gravitate towards Bittersweet, and I think that's because to me it feels jumbled. None of the shimmers in here I would pair with that personally. I think this would be good to take out of context of its palette and use it in my project. The next one, which is one that I'm concerned about, this is another old friend from my 2020 Pan Those Eyeshadows, and that would be the Juvia's Place Magic Mini palette. It has been rolled in again. There were 2 shadows from Magic Mini in my project last year. None of them are in this palette, actually. They were both neutrals. Kezi from Magic Mini rolled in, and Boronu rolled in. And this year we got one of the colorful shadows from Magic Mini, but I am scared, and that's okay. That's what this project is for. I believe it's pronounced Yejide, but it's Yejide. And I tried to look it up. If you know how to pronounce it and you can school me, please let me know. I think it's Yejide. I'll update if it's wrong. But it is this matte navy blue. You know, blues and greens do intimidate me. It's particularly dark blues and greens that scare me. I just, oh man, it's rough. But already I am optimistic that Yejide and Bittersweet would mix really well together to make a dark blue but purpley bright look. So we'll see how that goes. I'm very happy that my colorful palette is getting more use. So for the month of December, I took a break from the Pan Those Eyeshadows project. One thing I did a lot when I was just doing my own thing was to go into my colorful singles palette and just play. And I actually have I have these 2 shadows from the Magic Mini palette on my eyes right now. So that one, and I have Subculture Anastasia, that orangey mustard on my eyes right now, and different shimmers in other palettes. I've really been enjoying playing with my colorful singles palette. I'm glad that I'm going to get more use out of it. 139 comes from, again, an old friend of our project. This palette was rolled in the most in Pan Those Eyeshadows 2020. This palette had 6 eyeshadows roll in 2020. And we are starting off strong with one shadow from this palette. And it's actually a shadow that I've used a lot before. And you might be able to tell this is Perfection. You can see Perfection right there, I guess. It's like its name, it's a pearl, pretty white and shiny. So, and I've used it a lot because it is kind of nice. I like it. So we got our first like shimmer going on. The next one comes from a newbie to the project. We rolled in Silver Millennium from the Sailor Moon palette, which is my favorite shadow from this palette. And you can already tell that I've used it a lot. Hopefully that will mean it's easy to pan. It can be really metallic. It can be built to be very metallic and beautiful. I'm super happy that a new palette is rolled into my project. Another old friend. I don't have a lot of palettes. This might be too similar. Well, let's see. We rolled in Big Gulp from the main Squeeze palette. So there's Big Gulp and ICYMI. I hate to roll out another one, but to me those are too similar. Big Gulp, ICYMI. Sorry, let's do that again. I didn't notice that those were going to be so similar. Let's do another number. 74 is Cherry Juice from the Berries and Cream palette, we are gonna have cherry juice in our project. I was worried it was going to be too similar to Feel Free, but it's not. It's more purpley. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh, sorry if this is so confusing. The last one, so this is the 6th shadow, and this is the one where I was like, okay, depending on what it is, I'm going to either pick my own shadow or keep it. And I'm gonna keep it because the shadow is from Psyche's Box. This is an indie brand. Last year, there were a couple things that I wanted to be in my project, but didn't ever happen. And the things that never happened in my project were Psyche's Box and my ColourPop Super Shock singles. I wanted those to be in my project, but never happened. So that's why I was debating making the 6th one be one that I choose so that I have the opportunity to roll in shadows that I want. I think for the rest of the year, I'm going to give myself that option still, but this was the 6th shadow. I think when I hit pan on the shadow in here, I will allow myself to select my own shadow that I choose if I want. But the shadow we got is Baby Jane, which is this matte pink. It is different from the pink in my Pan That palette, and that's my project. I'll take a picture and show it better. This is the beginning of 2021. The color story I think is going to be pretty easy for me. There's a bunch of purples and pinks. We're starting off strong. Last year was very pink, purple, red heavy. And then we have these 2 lighter shimmers and this blue that's scaring me, but we'll get over it. That's what this project is for me, is to challenge me. I'm excited. There's some new palettes in, some old palettes in. Oh, bonus bronzer. If you know, I've started to show a bronzer at the end of these videos. So this is bonus bronzer. And I'm working on currently the bronzer in the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm in Deep palette. Not really deep, we already talked about that. But this is the bronzer right now. Haven't hit pan yet, but you can see all that disturbance going on there. And that's my bronzer, bonus bronzer, yay. I hope to hit pan soon, but we'll see. I hope you have a good day and you treat yourself well mentally and physically, and remember to support human rights. But yeah, I'll keep you updated. I'll see you in a month. Bye.